Permaculture has many definitions, and there's no single definition that's being used in the world of permaculture today. But the common factor that is in each of the definitions given is that it's a system of design, which means it's flexible and fluid according to the needs of the person being designed for. So his needs and requirements will cover house, kitchen, garden, grey water systems, composting systems, waste, toilet waste as well as kitchen waste. If he has a larger piece of land, he or she has a larger piece of land, then we'll include food forests, main crops, grazing areas, we'll rewild areas with indigenous species, we'll put in firewood and fodder, wind breaks, fire breaks. So it's a way of creating a closed system for people such that the needs are met without a negative impact on the environment. We stress on the word design because it changes according to landscape, the person you're designing for, according to latitude. These core methods are basically based on ecosystemic logic, on the mechanisms of nature. Science tries to understand mechanisms of nature. We use mechanisms of nature to meet these needs such that whatever we design falls within the carrying capacity of the earth. From one angle, every ecosystem looks different. But if you get to core strategies and core mechanisms of ecosystems, they're all the same. All ecosystems photosynthesize. All ecosystems have fungal, bacterial and other soil components that live in the soil, doing a certain thing for the soil. The exact species differ and their interactions with each other differ, but the function of soil organisms in a soil is the same across all ecosystems. So we take core ecosystemic functions and we adapt it to our situation. There are of course some ecosystems that are more anaerobic than others, but yet there is some set of soil organisms or life doing something that's done in all ecosystems. So we will be designing a system for them that meets their needs with regard to food, with regard to income, with regard to soil fertility, with regard to pesticide use, input costs and ease of managing the system. We will look into whether they have herbivore attacks or not. We will put in a design and put in a system that will handle and match and meet their needs using ecosystemic laws. Now these laws, imagine if a person wants to earn 10,000 rupees a month in surplus. We will have to find a crop that he can harvest once a month, and it will be a different one each month, or the same maybe, which will be a higher value than he is used to. And we'll find a way of using that crop such that it's a supporting species maybe for his main crop, such that it will use maybe a water harvesting ditch which would otherwise be empty as its growing space. The way an ecosystem would put in something new as a weed or as a support or as in a niche where no one's ever walked or used. Now let's use biodiversity to our advantage. Let's make sure we put in biodiverse plants, whether they're annuals or perennials, that will give a harvest at least once a month. So in the monsoons you may get a harvest of ginger, and after the monsoon, and in the summer months you may get a harvest of grape, but we put those in. So that's a design for a need for 10,000 extra per month. Now if he didn't have that need, we put in another design. If his need was to never irrigate in a drought prone area, we would put in rainwater harvesting ditches, vetiver grass which are deep rooted, holding soil and water. We'd put in a lot of carbon into the soil. We would build biomass for mulching. This is exactly what a forest does to remain unirrigated over the drought-ridden summers. Those are ecosystemic mechanisms to benefit the farmer such that his needs are met within the carrying capacity of the earth. Now, if my need is to create a system, an ecosystem, science will give me the tools to do that. Science has understood ecosystems, science has understood genes, science has understood minerals, science has understood carbon. Now it's up to you and me as humans, as scientists or non-scientists, to say what we need to use the scientific understanding for. Now, if in the agricultural world we haven't yet understood soils, it's the least understood thing in the agricultural world today, soil. If you haven't understood it, we don't know its requirements or how it works, then all our strategies will be based on above soil solutions or application based solutions. So when you want an above soil solution, you think the plant. Now let's make the plant hyperaccumulate zinc. Let's make the plant contain vitamin A. How do we do it? We have the gene for vitamin A, we have the gene for hyperaccumulation of zinc, we have the technology to transfer genes. Let's do that. Let's play Lego. Likewise, we can play Lego with ecosystemic logic too. I take a bit of carbon and I make a ditch and I put in some soil life. I'm playing a little bit of Lego, but the way the ecosystem chooses to do it. So it's all science. It's how we choose to use it. I would say working with ecosystemic logic, working with mechanisms of nature to design a system, so design very carefully thought out to meet the needs of humans. Yes, I think you can be free of food scarcity and malnutrition. The smallest scale of a permaculture design would be a house, a sustainable house with passive solar design, proper composting toilets, a kitchen, a small kitchen garden associated with it, the right locally sourced materials for the building of it and such. And the design will change according to the latitude, whether you want sun in or sun out, and whether you would like to grow food in or out. Sometimes you can grow food inside a conservatory in your house. So based on that, you will design a permaculture house. Then the largest scale is all the way from the house to rewilding, to meet your needs in the smallest possible space and then leave the rest for you to rewild it. Put in indigenous species, allow in flora and fauna of the local forests to come in and things like that. Rewilding, bringing back forests, bringing back the original ecosystems of the place is one of the aims of permaculture. Actually, many permaculturists believe that we can feed ourselves, if that's the ultimate aim, in very small spaces and leave the rest for rewilding. Give back the earth to the earth. Permaculture has answers, actually has viable answers to these questions, to these issues, keeping the farmer's capacity in mind. So we don't superimpose our ideologies or ways on them. If a farmer says he really has no money, we can design with no money. If he has X amount of money, we can design keeping in mind he has X amount of money. And the design will change, but the ultimate goal will remain the same. And that's the beauty of permaculture. It's highly flexible design science. I'm confident of the science that is used to do this, very confident of the science. It's watertight and I've also had results quite fast within months of even turning fallow land in a drought prone India into productive crop bearing pieces of property without irrigation within 2 months. I have managed to work with 2 separate areas, drought prone areas, and got good results. We've changed local temperatures from 55 degrees to 34 degrees and soil temperatures from up to 68 degrees down to 34 degrees within 2 months. In the fallow season, we are not talking about rain or winter. Farmers have not fully understood the value of trees for their system, for their farming, for nearly everything they want, from fertility, water holding capacity, income, pest resistance. They see a tree as a threat to the growth of their grain or their pulse. So they cut the tree down, and they're quite happy to cut trees. And then we have the firewood and fodder issue. So they don't prune for firewood and fodder, they actually cut the whole tree. So if there's one thing that needs to be emphasized amongst farmers, is the value of trees, and that things do grow under trees, and certain vegetables grow bigger and better under trees. Because you see, under a tree you don't have shade at all times in the same place. Shade moves, and especially in arid zones and high sunlight areas, a bit of shade has always helped the system, and it's a repository underground. The roots are a repository for soil life where they would otherwise die. There are so many factors that we have to work with for future of food production, because food production is an industry, has political angles to it, and sometimes you could be the best in the world and never move 1 inch for other reasons, not because of the strength of the system, but there may be other factors that won't allow it to move. We don't know, you know. Some of the best discoveries in the world have taken time to be exposed. So whether it's good or not is not what I'm discussing, but I believe that as a system it's very powerful. Now whether it will become the future, I do hope it does, but there are going to be a lot of different factors we'll have to understand and handle.